Hi guys, my name is Nicole B. Thank you so much, Sun, for that brief introduction and for getting us started. Hopefully you guys have a great idea so far of maybe some of the problems considered when implementing a successful teleworking opportunity and some potential solutions. And we are going to go ahead and take a look now at some of the methods and resources that we might use in establishing an appropriate and successful telework plan as we evaluate some of these resources. So when we review our methods, it's really important to understand that teleworking requires a lot of faith and trust in the staff and employees of the organization. And so a really organized plan of action is going to be very critical for implementation. To implement an efficient and successful process, an institution needs to answer the following questions and establish applicable protocols for each area. So first, we want to look at what is the definition of telework for an organization? What is the role and how will it work? How are the workers selected? Who can and wants to participate in this telework opportunity? How are schedules and accessibility structured and verified? What are the consequences for not managing telework efficiently? I think that is one of the biggest concerns for the organization, is trying to ensure and feel confident that they can ensure that all of their employers are meeting these objectives. And finally, how will employees have what they need to manage their telework successfully? As we look at a lot of these resources and methods to ensure a successful implementation of a telework team, it is really important to consider the costs associated with that as well. And as we look at some of these costs, I do want you to keep in mind that most of these considerations would actually be the same whether or not a team is working on site within a facility or if the person is going to be working remotely. And so as we look at that, I first want you to consider the time investment. Additionally, it's important to consider the tangible supplies for an institution. And again, as we review some of these cost estimates for a potential staff of about 50, it's important to note that these supplies would likely need to be purchased whether in-site in the facility or off-site. Of course, additional considerations will vary per organizational need. They are going to likely mimic the cost estimates for in-person work as well. So not all of these should be considered additional expenses to support a telework workflow. Those might include firewalls, security software, productivity software, and specialized apps, cell phone bill assistance for staff using personal phones for business. But again, all of those are likely going to have to be considered for in-office staffing as well. So when we look at that, a lot of the those costs really can be offset with the potential cost savings that is possible when implementing a successful telework system. So as we review everything that Sun has gone over with you in regards to how our proposal is set up, and also some of those cost considerations and savings that we can look at, and all of the various means that we have to be able to implement a successful plan, we can make it work. Creating an effective and successful telework opportunity is absolutely possible. There are many obstacles and considerations to keep in mind when considering a permanent telework opportunity for your organization. That's a fact. But when implemented successfully, the advantages are multifaceted and will result in residual benefits for both the organization and staff. Having an organized action plan that addresses key areas for concern ahead of time is critical and makes long-term efficient telework a possibility. Ensuring staff are all on board and prepared with appropriate training and necessary resources, and having full leadership support is essential and relatively easy to implement. Establishing schedule and availability protocols workflow boundaries and expectations, and clear consequences for not following outlined rules are all significant in setting up consistent and meaningful telework. Finally, the costs associated with establishing successful telework processes are not high when considering that these expenditures are required for in-office work as well. The heaviest initial investment in establishing a telework process is really in the time spent in coordinating and creating the process and implementing training and support of staff. Once established, staff will blossom within this new opportunity. Morale and trust between colleagues will rise, and all within the organization will benefit. Hopefully, we have been able to persuade you into looking into implementing a telework opportunity and all of the benefits and advantages that it has to offer. Thank you so much for your time with us today and your consideration.